was a tragic day for many. The sheriff's office says the gunman opened fire with a handgun on a base where weapons aren't allowed. These officers are asking everybody to leave the area or you will be arrested. They're starting to fire pepper balls. You can see that the base of the Rachael Sims monument is still here, but the plaque is gone as well as the statue. I want you to walk with me inside this home. There's glass all over the ground, and if you look up, you can see the sky. The roof isn't there. The strong winds ripped it off. Mayor, did you slap a city employee in the face? Do you have anything you want to say to the city, sir?
The war on whites, how did you feel about it when you retweeted it?
Well, I didn't even notice that it said war on whites. I was watching the video, and that's what I sent.
These conditions that the tenants are living in are unsafe. You know why we're here?
Yes. So that's why I didn't leave, okay?
Okay, is there any comment that you can give us?
No, ma'am.
Greg, the mayor's office says a poll worker was fired for allegedly tampering with a citizen's ballot. It happened earlier this morning. 14 people are allegedly buried in this cemetery. The district attorney's office says families were scammed during their time of bereavement. Protesters were out here for a couple of hours chanting, "No justice, no peace." This sign that was left behind says, "Please, I can't breathe." James Aberhart says he feels pretty confident right now. He said he's given this election his all, and it's up to the people to decide. The governor is urging residents to make plans to evacuate if the situation calls for it. He says do not resort to shelters because of the pandemic. I'm excited about that great weather as well, Kelly. Well, that's all for NBC 15 News at 5. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tonight at 10. Now, Kim and Greg, I have documents right here showing DHR told staff members that it would take over control of the investigation. Instead, LeBron's former caretaker says the department dropped the ball.
People definitely felt like DHR failed him.
This former staff member at Augusta Evans Special Education School wants to remain anonymous because of this investigation. Our source was heavily involved with little 8-year-old LeBron Rankin and has a lot to say about him. What started out as this happy boy who was always laughing quickly faded, and LeBron, the former staffer says, was slipping away.
It just got worse. Each week he was lethargic, he was losing weight rapidly, he had visible signs of neglect. It just wasn't good.
Concerned staff members our contact says had reached out to LeBron's mother with concerns in the past.
Nothing was really resolved, so it was time to report it to DHR.
And that's what LeBron's caretakers did. Staff members filed these 2 complaints with the Alabama Department of Human Resources. The first, on February 5th, 2018, states LeBron appeared to be losing weight and had reoccurring ringworm. The next day, February 6th, DHR sent this letter back to the school, acknowledging it would begin an assessment of LeBron, including an interview with him at the school as part of its, quote, thorough investigation to protect him. It's in this same letter school officials are told not to contact the parents of LeBron Rankin or any other person regarding this information. This former staff member tells us DHR failed LeBron and believes DHR should be held accountable.
We weren't hearing back from DHR or being interviewed. It was passed on to them, so it was their responsibility.
3 weeks later, staff members filed a second complaint stating LeBron was thinner since the last DHR complaint and noted very poor hygiene.
He had small roaches on his wheelchair and also crawling out of his clothes.
On March 26, 2018, records show a DHR caseworker went to LeBron's house and found nothing indicating neglect. LeBron died April 6th, weighing 23 pounds. If there's a message you could send to DHR, what would that be?
Do the right thing. Whoever this person was that made that visit, you know as well as we did that this baby did not die from natural causes.
The medical examiner apparently is unsure too that LeBron died from natural causes. In the autopsy report, the examiner lists the manner of death as undetermined. The possibility of neglect is noted on the autopsy report. In August, we sat down with Mobile County District Attorney Ashley Rich. She told us Spring Hill Medical Center, after receiving LeBron's body, notified her office, shocked about LeBron's condition.
She's fighting for LeBron in an active criminal investigation, but due to the coronavirus pandemic, she says the judicial system is significantly backlogged.
We are 6 months behind on presenting anything to grand jury just due to COVID. And then we were about 4 months behind just due to the backlog in the justice system. So now we're about 10 to 11 months behind.
2 years later, still no answers in LeBron Rankin's death.
A lawsuit has been filed against the directors of the Mobile County Department of Human Resources. The suit was filed by Birmingham attorney Tommy James. In a court filing today, Mobile County DHR's executive director denies allegations that LeBron died of negligence by the department.
Well, tonight an NBC 15 reality check. Residents in the Africatown community have been complaining for decades about mysterious illnesses ravaging families. And now for the first time, researchers are releasing their findings.
NBC 15's Rachael Wilkerson has been investigating the area, talking to researchers and folks living in that area who say no one will listen to them.
Janetta Dozer has called Africatown home for 50 years, a community she believes has suffered in silence for years, claiming the old paper company that ran from 1929 to 2000 is to blame.
I grew up around International Paper Company, and every other house in this community is suffering with cancer, including myself.
Yorktown Missionary Baptist Church sits at the heart of this historic community. The cries for help from its congregation unanswered. The cries of grief as they buried family and friends unheard.
He told us stories about his first year in the pastorship of that fine historic church, that there were numbers of members of the same family that were dying from, various diseases, many of which had some cancer base in them.
In 2015, the NAACP stepped in, claiming the Africatown community was being disregarded, ignored, and outvoted by City of Mobile and regional leadership. It hired local company Beheth Research and Development Laboratories to conduct a study, analyzing the soil, trees, human blood, and more.
Long time, and our findings have been staggering.
In 2017, more than 1,000 Africatown area residents filed a class action lawsuit with an out-of-town law firm. The lawsuit alleged that during the paper-making process, harmful chemicals were created and released.
The paper company dumped pollution on us for years and years after years.
Stanley Mills' mother, father, and grandmother all died from cancer.
Everybody on my street, mother, parent died of cancer.
He blames the toxins found in the soil. He joined the lawsuit, which records show was settled in May of 2020. Research performed for the residents' lawyers did not find significant amounts of pollutants. Instead, the research found chemical levels in the soil were no different in Africatown than anywhere else. Even with that information, International Paper CEO told me he thought it was in the company's best interest to settle with the roughly 1,000 residents rather than go to trial. The International Paper Company denies allegations that it caused illness in the community.
So we have a problem on our hand.
Dr. Muhammad Alam Beheth doesn't buy that the area is safe.
It just doesn't make sense.
He says his company's research found 300 to 3,000 times the levels of chemicals deemed safe by the World Health Organization in the soil and sediments, and attributes it to deaths.
It's difficult to overcome it.
The company's senior vice president, Dr. Rachael Wilkerson, says the danger behind these toxins is they do not go away. They can enter the body through contaminated air, water, and food.
It endures and accumulates in the fat cells of the human body over a period of time. So the longer a person's exposed to these things and doesn't find any relief from that activity, given the fact there's no remediation of those efforts, it contributes to failing health, cancer clusters, and death.
The impact on the community is grave. You have so many deaths that has taken place.
For years, Africatown residents have expressed concerns over several family and friends dying from cancer.
I got cancer in the lung, never smoked, never worked around chemicals, so where does it come from? And I think something should be done about it.
20 years later, it's a problem that still plagues the community today.
Somebody help us.
And COVID-19 continues to hit long-term care facilities especially hard. A Mobile nursing home is now reporting that 115 cases of the virus have happened there, and according to Crown Healthcare in Mobile, 20 residents and 3 employees have died. NBC 15's Rachael Wilkerson joins us now with that story. Rachel?
Lance, nearly a quarter of Mobile County's COVID-19 deaths are from this facility. An insider says it's hard for many to come to work during this crisis.
I cried when I heard about a resident that passed. I cried.
With COVID-19 cases and the number of deaths rising at Crown Healthcare of Mobile, it's taking a toll on many. This insider, whose identity we are concealing, says fear among employees, residents, and families continues to grow.
They got everybody scared. Everybody's scared.
A spokesperson tells NBC 15 there are 97 patients within the facility and nearly half are infected with the virus. 11 residents are currently in the hospital and 33 are in a COVID isolation ward at the nursing home. On top of that, 52 employees have tested positive for COVID-19 according to the facility.
And we're still scared because we're risking our lives. And then the loved residents, they're losing their lives. It's like a win-lose situation. And nobody's winning. Everybody's losing, and it's sad.
The facility has been battling the outbreak since mid-March. The Alabama National Guard came to disinfect Crown Healthcare of Mobile more than 2 weeks ago. But this insider says more needs to be done.
I want them to get that facility in order because we're there to help the residents, but if we're too scared to do our jobs, then the job is going to get done. It'll get done, but it won't get done properly. And it just needs to get a bit under control.
I reached out to the CEO for a comment. I have yet to hear back, but will continue to press for answers. Reporting live in Mobile, Rachael Wilkerson, NBC 15 News.